What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Smart Tech. Today we're taking a look at the Epson Home Cinema 2045. It is a wireless 3D projector that can cast an image up to 300 inches. How insane is that? But before we get to that, today's video is brought to you guys by a special site that basically only sells projectors. They're known as ProjectorPeople.com, and they're one of the best ways to go ahead and purchase a projector. Go ahead and check out the link below. They have some pretty solid prices, excellent customer service, and overall the reviews say that they are pretty solid. So with that said, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the projector itself. Now, we all know Epson is a pretty solid brand when it comes to two different things. One, printers, and the other one, of course, is projectors. They make their projectors really well. Whenever you go to a really high quality home theater, you always see the Epson projector there. I, of course, grew up with Epson projectors in the classroom, and now of course I have one to review, and this is one of their best bangs for the buck, and here is why. Basically, it comes in at a reasonable price range for a home theater, to the point where you're like, okay, I could buy this brand new TV for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, but I'm only gonna get a 55-inch 4K screen, which may be decent, but at the same time it might not be. So should I really buy it? What if I could get myself a screen that is the size of maybe my wall, maybe 200 inches, and I could hook everything up to it, and I can have a little bit of fun with it, because, you know, a projector you can move around and place pretty much anywhere. With the TV, you know, you could technically place it anywhere, but let's be real here. You have to either hang it on a wall, you have to make space, you gotta deal with the wires. It ends up being too much. So if you are going for a home theater, then I will tell you this, a projector 99.9% of the time is the better way to go. But what makes this particular projector special, the 2045? Well, of course, it has 2200 lumens of color brightness, which basically means that the images stay clear even when the screen is up to maybe like 300 inches. But with that said, even if there are lights on in that room, the image will still stay clear. It is one of the brightest projectors that you can get in this price range. Then, of course, I mentioned this before, the screen can go up to 300 inches. Now, do all of us have screens or walls even big enough to support that? Probably not, but I would say the average person will go to like 100 to 170 inches. I'm at around 150 inches when it comes to my wall. So of course it is much bigger than that 45, 55, 64 inch TV that you guys are all snazzing about. Finally, there of course is the dynamic contrast ratio, which is really important to look at when comparing other projectors. This one has a 35,000 to 1 in terms of details when it comes to dark scenes. How awesome is that? Now, next off, there's a few unique features that make this a little bit different from some of the other projectors in its class. It supports Miracast, which we all know as that awesome little app that allows us to stream to all our different projectors, TVs, so on and so forth. And it also has Intel Wi-Fi, which is a wireless streaming capability directly from your smartphone, tablet, or Windows up to 8.1, Windows 10, whichever one you're using, device, which is pretty awesome. Finally, we're in 2017, everyone has a Chromecast, everyone has a Roku streaming stick, or a bunch of other things. So of course, if you have an MHL enabled device, you will easily be able to stream directly from that. Next off, let's go ahead and take a look around the projector itself. So the top, of course, has your traditional buttons, but there also comes a remote with it in case you would like to use that. There's the WLAN screen little dot thingy LED. Then of course there's the LED for screen mirroring, there's an LED for lamp, temperature, and finally there's the power LED itself. There's a home button, a source button, there's a menu button, up, down, left, right, and finally an escape and enter button. So basically, should you lose the remote or can't seem to find it, or if you prefer to use the projector as your main set of controls, you are free to do so because it pretty much has everything you need directly built onto the projector. Now, jumping onto the back, we get some more interesting things. There is a pretty decently sized speaker on the back of it. Now, does it get too loud? No, but let's be real here. If you're getting a projector, you should probably have a pretty nice sound system already. So of course, simply plug that into the audio L and R. There's also a video input as well. There's an HDMI 1, which also supports MHL, and there's HDMI 2. So if you want to have multiple devices hooked onto this, you are free to do so. Now, with that said, you could also get yourself a splitter and have like 8 devices connected, like I know a few other people who have home theaters have done. There's a PC input, which not a lot of people use these days, but if you have an older laptop, that can be really convenient. There's a service input and a USB input. Now, that USB input's important because it can allow you to connect maybe a mouse or anything that you need depending on what you are setting this up to do. Finally, there's an audio out, so if you want to use headphones with your projector, you technically can. But there are other uses for that as well, for example, your speaker system. Then of course there's the power input, which is your traditional power input in terms of projectors, monitors, computers, so on and so forth. Now on the front, of course, is your lens. There is a small little stand that allows you to raise it slightly, but I'll be honest with you, you should probably use this upside down, hanging up from the ceiling if you want a permanent setup, because it can be a little tedious to adjust this just right, depending on where your screen is. There's a little closure for this as well, in case you want to cover up your lens, and there's a focus button and a size button. There's also another interesting button that actually allows you to tilt the screen, depending on where you would like to see. Finally, there's the air vent, and that is where I'm going to mention one of our crucial little downsides. This thing gets hot. In fact, it turns into a mini little heater at some points. It pushes out so much hot air. I think this was doing a better job of heating my current room than, of course, the heater itself, which you should really keep in mind if you are planning on putting this in a small environment. But for a basement, it's perfect. It might actually allow you to keep everything nice and cozy. So keep that in mind while purchasing this. Now, this is nothing new for a projector. All projectors get absurdly hot, and of course, there are multiple ways to go and deal with that. A simple Google search should lead you on your way. Finally, let's go ahead and talk about my experience. The setup itself was easy as pie. You simply plug a few things in, turn the thing on, press a button, and bang, just like that, you have a pretty nice size screen set up. Adjust a few more things, maybe the focus a little bit, maybe the angle depending on where you're sitting, and afterwards you have a nice crisp image directly in front of you, and you're just like, wow, that's really big. That's your first reaction, usually. After that, you're like, okay, let me adjust the quality a little bit, let me adjust the contrast based on how much lighting is inside of your room, and then you choose where you want to go from there. You can plug in different devices. For example, I plugged in my laptop. You can also go ahead and wirelessly stream from your phone maybe, and then of course you can go ahead and hook this onto your audio system to have the full experience. You want a big screen, big audio, and then you want to get the controller ready to either game, or maybe you want to go and watch a pretty nice solid movie. It all depends on what you are using it for, but with a projector, the opportunities are endless, and you can move this from room to room should you choose to do so as well. Now, speaking of which, portability wise, I can't say it's portable. It might fit in a backpack, but it might also not, and I suggest you don't. At the same time, it doesn't have much weight to it. It is actually relatively light, so if you are planning on mounting this somewhere, you should have a relatively easy time doing so. So overall, guys, I give it a nice solid 9 out of 10. It's basically easy to set up. You just whip it out of the box and set it up just like that. There are multiple ways to adjust it. The screen quality, well, the specifications speak for themselves. The price range is pretty solid overall for its class. And overall, I liked it. It's really awesome to game on. It's much better than, of course, gaming on a laptop. And if you have a small, tiny little laptop, you should probably invest in one of these, and, you know, why not? Why not turn the whole house into a massive gaming screen, especially if you have a wireless controller, an Xbox, PS4, so on and so forth. If you're into movies, then of course this is a pretty solid way to invest in as well, but then you might want to get yourself one of those massive white screens, and it all depends on what you guys are feeling. The whole idea is that the opportunities are endless. Now with that said, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If so, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. This is going to be me logging off.